Today on the post-Shriek Out reaction, we are talking about Army of Darkness, and I am already a fan of this movie. In fact, I would say it's number one. See, because it's like a number one foam finger. Except it's not, it's a chainsaw. From the Evil Dead musical, which I got at one of the very first showings of that musical. I'm kind of a fan of this franchise.
In case you couldn't tell.
Yeah, I'm actually going to take this off before I accidentally damage this thing, because I don't think I would ever be able to get a replacement for it. Okay, so yeah, I freaking love The Evil Dead. In fact, for years, this has actually been a Halloween tradition of mine that on Halloween, I would always watch Evil Dead 2. Last year, I broke off from that, and I was like, you know what, I do this every single year. I've done it for like 6 years straight. Let's do the first Evil Dead this year. And this year, it's not Halloween just yet. We still have multiple days for that. But it came to my attention, you have never seen Army of Darkness.
No, I've heard about it.
Yeah, you have. But I've shown you Evil Dead. I've shown you Evil Dead 2. You've actually had to watch Evil Dead 2 with me multiple times.
Yes, because it was part of your Halloween tradition.
I thank you for that. There was one year, for longtime fans of this channel, you will remember the most hellish Halloween that we ever had, where we were moving on that Halloween and we couldn't get half of our stuff into the truck that we ended up renting. So I had to spend like 48 hours straight of no sleep, like 2 days before Halloween, just grabbing stuff from our old apartment, getting it on the train, and just carrying it all the way to Brooklyn to our new apartment, all the way from Harlem. So that was a no, we weren't even in Harlem. We were even north of that at that point.
Yeah, like...
Yeah.
Washington Heights?
Washington Heights, yeah. We were up there, so that was a 2-hour train ride back and forth, and me just carrying massive stuff for 48 goddamn hours straight. I was dead tired when Halloween actually came around, and we were in a hotel with none of our stuff except for your laptop, and I had to download all kinds of programs because your laptop, even though it had like the DVD player, it was busted and wouldn't play the DVD. And so I had to just like download and figure out a way to fix your laptop that night because like, no, I'm stressed, I'm achy, I'm about to drop over dead, but the Halloween tradition is going to live on, damn it. And we did it. We did it that year.
Yay.
So my point is, kind of a fan. But this request came in from Wolverine Ghost Rider Blade over on Twitch. He has been, first off, this is the very first time we've actually took a request on Twitch. Normally it's just from YouTube, Tumblr, or Twitter. But I've been Twitch streaming so much more this month, and he has been joining us for every Twitch stream this entire month. And he's been enjoying everything we've been doing for THORGIWEEN. So I was like, you know what? If I'm going out, the very last viewer's choice, it's going to be the guy who has been very positive and supportful of every single thing that I have done all month long. So congrats, you won that. Not to say that other people out there have not been very positive and supportful. I mentioned this in our last viewer's choice that I feel really bad.
Supportful or supportive?
Whatever. Be supportful of me right now. All right.
Okay.
All right, so yeah, I felt very bad that I have so many people who have been so nice to me this month. They've been cheering on everything we've been doing this whole month, and I just can't get to everybody's requests, but I saw all of them. I appreciate everybody putting something in there. But yeah, we're going out with Army of Darkness on this one. Now, for anybody who doesn't know, basically, in the first 2 Evil Dead films, Ash Williams, played by Bruce Campbell, went up to a cabin in the woods with his girlfriend. She got possessed by the Necronomicon, which is this ancient book that summons out Kandarian demons, and it possessed her. He had to kill her. It then got into his hand. His hand turned bad. He had to chop it off. He ended up attaching a chainsaw onto his arm to fight the big monster that was living in the basement of the cabin. And then the daughter of the woman who owned the cabin, the daughter of, well, I guess of the woman who owned the cabin as well, the daughter of the professor who owned the cabin and translated the Necronomicon, had to then open up a portal to suck all the evil from the Necronomicon into it, but Ash ended up getting sucked into it as well, and he traveled back in time to the age, to like the 1300s.
Like the medieval times.
Yeah, to medieval times.
Not the restaurant.
All this was just a fever dream of his at medieval times. It's shocking to me that they never did that in the comics, because there's been Army of Darkness comics for a decade now. Well over a decade, in fact. And they've done pretty much everything they can do with Ash Williams and those. It's like, no, you can take him to medieval times. You can do that. But he goes back to medieval times, and he ends up basically becoming the chosen one that was written about in the Necronomicon that would eventually slay all the Deadites. That's the entire movie. Or at least that's the premise of this one. And here's the thing. People are massive fans of Ash Williams. He's one of everybody's favorite horror heroes out there. The Evil Dead franchise has a massive cult following. I would be fully willing to say that when people think of Evil Dead and they think of Ash, especially when they think of Ash, this is the version they think of. Because Ash in the very first movie was average Joe guy. He was just the nice guy out of all of his friends who survived until the end and was tortured by his friends. Second movie, he's basically that for the first half of the movie. Then he becomes kind of an asshole for like the next half hour. Then he becomes a superhero in the very end. At the very end of that film, he becomes the action hero that everybody knows Ash for. Mm-hmm. This film is just him being the action hero. And it is gorgeously cheesy.
Yes.
It is the right kind of cheese. Mm-hmm. Every word out of this dude's mouth in this movie is a catchphrase. And yet it kind of fits. Like, you never look at it as like, no one would say that. Instead, you look at it like, Ash Williams would say that. And I mentioned this on our Tales from the Vic show. For anybody who hasn't checked out Tales from the Vic, it's a review show that I've been doing with my pal Vic. We reviewed a bunch of cheesy B films this month. And one of the films that we reviewed was Night of the Creeps, a classic B horror film. And in it, we mentioned, like, hey man, B actor is not an insult. Saying someone is a B actor is not saying that they are not as good as an A actor. It is a completely different genre of acting. It's a completely different style because you could not get someone who was classically trained at Juilliard to come in here and deliver the lines like Bruce Campbell has to deliver in this movie nearly as well as he does. Because he just has the exact right level of cockiness and dickishness behind every single thing that he says. But you still like him. At least I did. I don't know. How do you feel?
No, I liked him too. It's like, I think another reason why is because, like, there were plenty of times we got the shit beaten out of him, so he's not like this perfect guy.
That is another thing. That's another thing that makes Ash Williams such a great character, is that he comes in here all cocky, but then he'll get the crap kicked out of him. They are not afraid to just slap Bruce Campbell silly. In fact, I've listened to the director commentary on all of these movies, and Sam Raimi, the director of each of them, always stops to point out how he loves to torture Bruce Campbell. And Bruce is like, yeah, I know. There's a moment in Evil Dead 2 when he's driving the car and like looking behind him like, oh God, what's that? And a tree branch just comes in and smacks him. And Sam's like, I did that. And Bruce is like, you can tell Sam is the one who did that because it was extra mean. And it's like Sam would be the one to always throw Bruce Campbell down a flight of stairs. Like he would just, anytime that Bruce needs to get an extra piece of like shit kicked out of him, Sam Raimi was more than happy to come up and be the one to do it. And this one, there's no real opportunity for Sam to be the one who does it. I think he throws the rock at Sam's head. I can't be entirely sure. Threw the rock at Sam's head, throws the rock at Bruce's head. But he still just like humiliates the dude. Like he's walking in chains and cuffs at the beginning of this thing as they're all being led to their death, and this entire village is just shouting and cheering for their deaths. And like 5 little children come up just laughing and punching. It's like, stun. And it's like, yeah, that's the kind of like humiliation that Ash Williams always gets that makes you go, that's why we can stand you being a complete dick. It's almost like your dickish attitude has karma coming back to you. Because he's way more dickish in this film than he has ever been in any of the other films.
Although, to be fair, I can understand why. He's had so much shit happen to him. He's like, I just want to go the fuck home. I don't want to be your prophecy or anything like that.
There was a moment in which the old wizard guy comes up. Which, by the way, another thing that I love about this is that all of them are turning this guy like he's the professional on slaying deadites. Mm-hmm. But when you stop and think about it, they've been fighting these hordes of these monsters for who knows how long, for days, weeks, months, years, who even knows. He's fought them for a little over 24 hours. And yet they're still turning him like he's like the professional on this. But the wizard comes in and he's like, so have you figured out how to get me home? And he's like, well, we need the Necronomicon. It has the way to send you home. We need to get that book. He's like, I don't care about your mystical mumbo jumbo. Just get me home. It's like they literally just told you that they can't do it without this thing here. You have to go and get the thing, idiot. You know, like he's that kind of action hero. He's the kind of action hero who's like, I'm not going to listen to the professionals on this thing. I'm just going to slap someone silly until it works. And it's like, well, he gets results.
Yes.
It actually does kind of work out for him. It's like, all right. Can't really argue with those. All right, fine, whatever. Yeah, but you're right. One of the reasons he's so likable in this film is that Sam Raimi and Bruce Campbell are both massive Three Stooges fans, and you can see that in the way that they direct horror, because they don't just slap Bruce Campbell around. Bruce Campbell will hit his head on the exact same, stove vent 5 times in a row.
And it'll each be different.
Each in a different way. There's a different way in which he hits it each time, and that makes it funny each time. And in between him hitting his head on, he'll be dealing with some other crazy thing that makes you even forget that's up there. So when he stands back up again, it's hilarious all over again. I remember always enjoying the sequence in which he gets to the windmill in this one, because it's an Evil Dead film. He has to at one point be chased by the invisible ghost and then find himself in a cabin in the woods.
Yes.
And I just love that they took all of Evil Dead and boiled it down to maybe 5 minutes of this one film.
Yeah, it's here's all the stuff you liked from the previous movie.
It's we have to do it, otherwise it won't seem like it fits with the rest of these movies. But yeah, he goes in there and he's just attacked by little tiny versions of himself. Which, by the way, we watched this on my original DVD of this. It's literally the first DVD I ever bought. So the quality of the picture did not age all that well, because we're not watching it on a 4K TV. I was watching this just kind of okay, this actually, it still looks good. It still looks good. The moment they get to that cabin, the film quality, it'd be like if you went down into the little bar down here and clicked on the 1080p thing and took it down to 360. It is that much of a change in quality. It's whoa! Oh, where did this come from? So there's actually moments in here in which I was I can't entirely tell what's happening in this scene. But yeah, he goes in there and he's just getting the absolute crap kicked out of him by these little versions of himself. But it's not like they're jumping on him. It's no. It's not like gremlins attacking someone.
No, it's they're just fucking with him.
They're just fucking with him.
They're just making him trip over himself and just...
They're singing London Bridge while he's falling down.
They poke him in the butt with a fork.
Yeah, exactly. But the way that he kills them too is hilarious. One of them is hiding behind a log in the fireplace, and he sees him, and it's oh shit, and he's just oh, bonk, and just bumps the log to knock him into the fire. It's goddamn, they are just mini versions of you because you're a big dick as well.
Honestly, that scene kind of reminded me of a Tom and Jerry cartoon.
Yeah, I was thinking Looney Tunes, but you're right, it's Tom and Jerry.
Yeah.
Way more, yeah. But yeah, Tom and Jerry was also heavily influenced by vaudeville, which is what the Three Stooges was influenced by.
Exactly. A lot of Looney Tunes and all the slapstick that all originated from vaudeville and stuff. So.
Yeah, and you can see all of that in the way that in this one more than any of them, because Evil Dead, the first one, was a horror film, straight up horror.
Yes.
Film. Evil Dead 2, horror comedy, because the first half of the film is horror. But then it starts to get more and more slapstickish, and then by the end of it, it's kind of goofy with where it's going. It's all right, fine. It transitions into that pretty well. This one, it's just straight up comedy. It is the horror element is the fact that there are skeletons walking around. That is it. But yeah, the fact that they actually were allowed to just go straight up comedy on this one, it makes me realize I don't think I've ever actually seen Sam Raimi actually direct a comedy. He's directed a wide range of different genres, but I don't think he's ever actually done a comedy. And it's really upsetting for me now that I realize this. You're allowed to direct comedy when there's no zombies in it. You know that, right? I would love to see him tackle that again. But yeah, or another great thing, also the props in here add to the comedy as well. Because after he's trapped in the cabin, he finds the Necronomicon, but there's now 3 of them there. And I love, again, that Ash in this is just such a piece of shit. But at the same time, you understand why he's a piece of shit. That he sees these 3, and he's blaming the wizard.
It's he didn't tell me there were going to be 3.
What am I supposed to do with this? It's this is the thing that you're worried about right now, Bruce? It's all right. It's I mean, don't get me wrong, it is a problem, but he's just so pissed off at the wizard for not telling him. It's you don't think that maybe, I don't know, it's the Necronomicon fucking with you, man? The thing that's been fucking with you for days now? I won't say for years now, but it's no, you do have to remind yourself, even if he slept in between, like, him convincing the town to trust him and when he went out there, like, even if he got a day's rest there and he got another day's rest when he, like, hooked up with the lady in there, it's still, like, just 3 days that he's been dealing with this thing. So he is probably very, very tired at this point. That's one thing that I love thinking about when I watch this film, is just how exhausted he has to be of all this shit. So, yeah, when he goes and he sees there are 3 books, again, it's just the fact that it's not that he's mad there's 3 books, it's that he is blaming the wizard for this, for not telling him about the books. He's like, the wizard probably didn't know, because the Necronomicon does nothing but fuck with people. You know this. But yeah, like, they, again, just use the opportunity just for slapstick. He gets sucked into a giant portal, comes out, and his face is now like,
all stretched out from getting sucked in.
Slowly sucking it back up, which I've, of course, listened to the audio commentary on this, and they're talking about how it's like, yeah, we had to make like 3 different faces for him. Like, yeah, this was all practical effects. I love that. There's a few green screen effects in here, which are pretty obvious.
Yes,
but I mean, for the time, they did pretty darn well with it. And I really dig the puppet work in here, speaking of the practical effects.
Yeah, like the stop motion and everything.
Stop motion, yeah. The stop motion in here is really good. But again, even when it is clearly like a puppet, like when Evil Ash gets introduced in here, and there comes a moment in which Evil Ash gets burned down to just being a skeleton, there are moments in which that is clearly stop motion. But there's other moments in there where it's a close-up on his face, and you can tell it's someone in the puppet mask. Yeah, that's a damn good-looking puppet in there. So he gets the Necronomicon and has to go back there, and...
No, he has to, like, recite an incarnation or incantation.
He had to arrange flowers into the yeah, he had to recite an incantation. And the incantation, it's a reference to the day the Earth stood still. It's Klaatu Verata Nikto, which is what they had to say at the end of that movie to stop the giant monster. But he, of course, screws it up. And again, that just sums up Ash Williams. He blames the wizard for not telling him there be 3 books, but then he fucks up the thing the wizard told him to do. The one thing the wizard told him to do. And then when he gets back there, after summoning out the evil by trying to trick the spirits into thinking he said it, he takes the book back after just going, Klaatu Verata. Well, I said it. You all heard me. I'm going to take this. And then demons start getting summoned out. And he comes back there, and he hands the book to him. And he's just like, yeah. I basically said, what do you mean you basically said? Well, I didn't say every word. Well, then you just summoned out the army of the dead, you idiot. He's like, I don't give a crap. Just get me home. It's like, you blame the wizard for not telling you there be 3 books, but you damn this entire town to being destroyed by the army of the dead. And yet you're just like, what do you want from me, huh? Come on.
It's like, I want to go home. It's like, there's no home for you to go to if you let all this evil out. Like,
oh my god. Oh, yes. So, anywho, but yeah, from there, it just becomes an action film of them just fighting off this army. But he fights them off by getting his own reliable car, which was Sam Raimi's actual car, and he kept around for years and put in every one of his movies. And he just finds like all of his old high school textbooks in the back and has to teach them about science and teach them about gunpowder and teach them how to make weapons. And then he just turns his own car into like this Mad Max machine. It is, oh my gosh, it is gloriously cheesy. That is the best way to sum this up. It's what a B movie is supposed to be.
Yeah.
B movies are supposed to be enjoyable cheese. Which again, sounds like an insult, but no, man. Like, there's gourmet cheese out there. Like, there is perfect cheese in the world, and it's better than most 3-course meals. That's what so saying that a B movie is supposed to be cheesy, it's not an insult if you know how to do it. This is one of the greatest B movies ever made, I would honestly say. But, of course, and we're going into full spoilers on this one already.
Yeah.
I know my audience. I think the vast majority of my audience has already seen this film. And if you haven't seen this film and you're checking us out for the first time, watch all. That's your homework. your homework is watch the entire Evil Dead trilogy. It's got to be streaming somewhere. Go out there, check it out. If you want to skip the first one, I can understand, because the first one is straight horror, and I know not everyone out there is into straight horror. Also, the first one is really graphic.
Yeah.
There is a moment in that film in which I was like, oh, like I was showing that to you before we got married.
Yeah.
And I was like, you're going to break up with me when you see this thing. And we got to the end of the first Evil Dead film, and I was like, she's going to hate this. She's going to be polite. She's going to be polite. I was like, oh, well, you know, I can see why you like it. Like, say something like that. But no, as soon as we ended, you just went, that was awesome. I was like, oh.
Because it's supposed to be scary. It was a horror movie, so.
Yeah. But not just scary, but like messed up.
Yes, really messed up.
It was supposed to be really messed up, and they achieved that.
Yes.
So, yeah, but what was I saying? So, yeah, if you want to skip the first one, that's fine, because the second one is basically like a fresh start. The second one takes everything that happened in the first one, cuts out, like, some of the characters, and then just crams it all into the first act of that film. So you can totally skip the first film, which, by the way, my friend when I was a kid who introduced me to the Evil Dead films, he kept talking about how dumb Ash was, and his justification for how dumb Ash was that, can you believe he escaped the cabin the first time, then went back up there with another girlfriend, another night? How dumb are you to do that? I was like, dude, they took the first film and just summarized it. It's not another... He didn't get another girlfriend with the exact same name as his previous girlfriend who died in the cabin.
It was like previously on Evil Dead.
That's what it was. But he thought that, like, that wasn't a previously on. He thought it's like, no, the first film still happened, and this film is now happening. They're completely different nights. Like, all right, we were like 13 at the time, so it's understandable.
Fair enough.
Yeah. But the reason why I want to go straight into spoilers on this one is that, as I said, this was my original DVD of this thing. And the reason why I was like, I gotta get a DVD player just for this. Like, I bought a DVD player just to watch this movie because this was the director's cut edition, which has the original ending of the movie in there. And I was like, I gotta see how it originally ended. And then I watched it, and I was like, oh, I actually like the non-director's cut ending way more. And I know that the majority of the Evil Dead fan base out there likes the director's cut edition far more. Because the original ending of this is that the wizard tells him, you must go to this location and recite the words. You must recite them exactly. And then it cuts to him in modern day, back at the S-Mart, talking to his coworker, who was played by Tim Raimi, the brother of Sam Raimi, who was also the guy in a lot of the monster makeup in Evil Dead 2, playing Henrietta, the big monster in there. So it was kind of fun that he got brought back for this. But he was like, yeah, they wanted to make me their king, but I decided couldn't do it. I had to come back here. And the guy's like, uh-huh. So did you recite the words correctly this time? He's like, well, mostly. I might not have gotten every single little word just right. And then he's hitting on a girl at the S-Mart, and then a demon attacks, a Deadeye attacks, and then he goes in the sporting goods department, grabs the gun, does a hero line, has a big action scene, takes her out, grabs the girl he was flirting on, says, hail to the king, baby, and kisses her. The director's cut edition is that he's told, you must take 6 drops of this in this cave so no one will find you, and then you will wake up in your own time. He takes 5 drops, hears the noise, goes, what was that? Okay. 5, 6. Like, he miscounts it.
Yeah, he takes 1 drop extra.
And he sleeps too long, and he wakes up, and, like, everything's destroyed.
Yeah, it's like the post-apocalypse.
Yeah. And I've listened to the director commentary on this, and what they wanted to do is they wanted to make Army of Darkness 2, which was Ash in the future versus the apocalypse.
I understand that.
Yeah, I totally get that that's where they want to go, and I also really get that's why most of the Evil Dead fan base enjoys that ending more, because I've talked to a lot of people who enjoy that, and they say, yeah, man, it sets up this awesome movie in there. It sets up this awesome movie of him having to fight the apocalypse. I was like, that would be an awesome movie, but we didn't get that. So the reason why I dislike this ending more is because now that means that Ash's story ends with him waking up as the last survivor in a doomed world. The end. That's it, because that other movie did not come. We did not get that movie. So yeah, I far prefer the one in which he's now stuck in our time. He's back in his regular time, and he's just a badass, and he's going to be here to save the day from the army of deadites that he himself also brought about because he screwed up.
Part of me kind of wished he'd stayed in the past because he had like a really hot lady and he was like the worshipped and everything. It's like, what guy doesn't want that? Like,
so you just want Ash to be like, listen, man, just get your prize. You earned this.
You went through enough shit.
Although, again, when you stop and you realize the fact that his girlfriend died like the night before he got here, and he cared about her so much that, remember, there's the moment which he gets possessed and turns into a deadite, and he turns back by seeing the pendant he gave his girlfriend, and is like, no, and that's able to bring him out. Like, he cared about her that much. 2 nights later in the past, he is just fucking this random lady who he just met. It's like, wow, you were such a piece of shit. Wow, man. Oh, man. So yeah, that was, oh, man. I really still enjoy this. I'm still giving it a perfect 10. This movie, this entire franchise is my favorite horror franchise of all time. If you ever get a chance to see the musical, by the way, that thing is amazing. Just download the soundtrack to it. The songs in there are so damn good. So, that is it. That was the end of Viewer's Choice Week. I'm going to point this even closer at this. And you might be saying, okay, well, that was the end of this theme week. But there's still 3 more days in October. And you said you were going to do one of these every single day in October. Oh, my thing is getting broken here.
Oh, no. Don't show that. That's so sad.
This thing is over a decade old. I'm amazed it's lasted this long. I got this in 2007, I want to say. Like, yeah, it's amazing foam rubber held up this long. No, this isn't even foam rubber. It's just foam. There's no rubber even in this thing. Yeah, wow, I'm nosing all the cracks in this. Okay, never touching this again. I got to wear it once on camera. That's all I care about. Yay. But you might be asking, okay, what are you going to do for the rest of this month? We actually have some special things planned for the next 3 days because we are doing post-Shriek Out reactions every single day. I said we were going to do them. We are going to do them. But what we have planned on Halloween is something that we specifically looked at and said, that's the thing we have to review on Halloween. Mm-hmm. It just makes freaking sense this year. It's even a thing that many of you have been asking me, so are you just not going to talk about this thing? We are going to talk about. But also, we're going to be reviewing a couple of shows.
Yes.
That just premiered a few days ago, actually.
Yes.
So we're going to have to just binge watch the crap out of a couple of shows. But they're 2 big shows that we were both waiting on, and they both came out like right here at the tail end of October. Everyone out there probably knows what we're talking about. But yes, we will be doing post-Shriek Out reactions for them over the next 2 days, and then have our big finale on Halloween. Thank you guys for tuning in, and as always, happy Halloween.
Bye.
Bye. It's so cool. I love this. That's actually damaging it more. Not gonna, can I get this framed? Can I get this like
you probably could.
Can I get this encased in something where it's just free of bacteria and harm? Someone let me know that in the comments. Bye.